We are live. Hello, one and all, and welcome to Penguins Pointers. And this one, man, it's going to be a really good one. Anthony and I, we're going to be providing you the final deletion. The Penguins have deleted Columbus. Delete. Washington. Delete. Ottawa. Delete. And now we will finally complete it with deleting the Nashville Predators. Take it away, Mr. DeSimone.
I would, but you took my delete button.
Delete.
What's going on, guys? This is Penguins Pointers number 40. Dan, we had this conversation before Game 7 that we were going to have two different types of conversations ready to go in case the game did not go the way we were hoping for it. But it took double overtime. We got the win. We did. Now we're on to the finals. I'm very excited. If you're wondering why I'm not wearing Penguins gear, there's a very good reason why, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And for the viewers, it's mainly because they lose when I wear Penguin gear in the playoffs. All season, it was the other story. Playoff time, no. I wore Penguins gear for, what was it, Game 4? Yeah, Game 4. And we lost big time. So I haven't worn Penguins gear during a game since. So we're going to keep it that way. But all right, Dan, so let's get ready to talk about Game 1 of this series. We got two different storylines going on here. Penguins looking to repeat. Nashville looking to win their first ever Stanley Cup final in their first ever appearance. Which storyline do you like better?
The Penguins. That's biased. Of course it's going to be biased. But I just think, man, what a story it would be for them to be the first team since, 1997, 98, the Detroit Red Wings, to repeat. Yep. It's very tough to do. I mean, that's what made it, my bracket, fall apart into shambles. I just didn't think the Pens would be able to find what it takes to win. But silly me, this team, that's their motto. They just continue to find ways to win, and I think they will do the same thing against a very formidable, but I think they can also beat them in the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Chicago managed to bust my bracket pretty early. Thanks, Dan. But
you're welcome.
No, Nashville, after seeing them just torment Chicago in the first round, I thought to myself, you know what? They're going to find their way at the final. They really were. And I was right.
That was it.
I was right. I really didn't pick them. They're the bottom seed, 16 seed overall, including, overall the 16 teams that made it. They were the last team in. And they proved everybody wrong. I mean, they deserved their spot. They handily defeated the three opponents they had. I mean, no game went to 7. And at no point did you really sit there and go, you know what, Nashville's in trouble. I mean, they just, Pecorine and that offense have just been on fire. I mean, the Penguins are going to have a tough task to figure out here as we go into taking Nashville on in Game 1 here. But on the other hand, the Penguins, they've taken down 3 very tough teams. Columbus coming in on a heck of a good season. I mean, really, this reminds me a lot of a couple years ago when it was the Pirates got the wild card with 97 wins. Mm-hmm. That was a tough wild card team. And it's the same scenario here. Columbus was a tough wild card team. Got through them. Wasn't easy. It probably felt like 6 games, even though it was 5. Mm-hmm. Washington was a hell of a series. Went to 7. Everything we expected of it and more. And you know what? We talked, not on podcast, but, just in conversation about how what's going to top that series? And then the Ottawa series happens. And you're sitting there going double overtime in a Game 7, and a veteran scores the game-winning goal and 2 goals on the night. I mean, that's just – now it's like, how's the Stanley Cup final going to get any better?
Oh, man.
What is it going to be now?
Great.
It's going to be very interesting to see if will the Predators fall to jitters? Will the Penguins' injuries maybe catch up to them here? So far, they've been blessed that they haven't, but they've been following, like we've said before, the next man up mentality. But it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Like you said, the Penguins are going for a repeat. They've been here before. They're going to have more experience in Nashville. And honestly, I think one of the biggest things that, any game's important, but I really think Game 1 is a big deal because if Nashville gets the confidence in a victory that they can beat the Penguins, this series could just turn away from the Penguins very quickly. And on the other hand, if the Penguins take Game 1 and put some jitters into Nashville of being up against the defending cup champions, and then they drop 2 and have to go to Nashville, we could be seeing a different story. So I mean, it all really does come down to game 1, and I wanted to know, Dan, what did you think about what's going to happen tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be a much better series compared to. I just think it's going to be a better matchup between the Predators and Penguins compared to the Senators and Penguins. I thought the series between the Senators and Penguins, it started off really just yucky. I just didn't think their styles meshed well. Although I thought the last 2 games, minus the officiating in Game 6, were fairly solid games of hockey, especially Game 7. That was just classic.
Don't get me on officiating. That was a joke. I don't want to talk
we could do a whole Pens Pointers on officiating.
They could lose the Stanley Cup because of officiating. I'm calling it right now. If something stupid like that happens,
right?
I mean, really.
But for tonight, as I was saying, I think it's going to be a Penguins victory. I'm going with 3-2. And I don't know if you want me to say predictions for the end, for the series, or when you want me to do that, but I also have mine for that.
Hey, give them. It's game 1. You got
right. Well, I have Penguins winning the Stanley Cup in 5. Just something screams out 5 to me. I was going back and forth between 5 and 6. I think if they can win tonight, and hell, if you can win tomorrow, you're already up 2-0. I think they have what it takes. I just think with their styles meshing so much better against Nashville, our offensive, firepower will just be able to overmatch them, hopefully. And you got Matt Murray, who's playing real good in net. And they're just gelling, next man up. You got Hornquist back, Patrick Hornquist back tonight. That's going to be huge, creating that net front presence that we really missed, having him, play the last couple games. So all in all, I think with Horny back, it's going to be a good game for the Penguins.
Well, like I said, if they can take game 1, I could see a 5-game series win because, like I said, you go up 2-0. If you can steal game 2 as well, you go into Nashville. All they have to do is take 1 game in Nashville.
Sure.
So, I could see it. Now, Nashville is very good at home this year. We'll give them that. They are spectacular at home this year. Like I said, Pekka Rinne is a brick wall. We thought Holtby was tough. We thought Anderson was tough. I'm sorry, but Pekka Rinne is the number 1 goaltender in the playoffs right now. I know we have a bias that we think, it's Fleury or Murray, but I'm sorry, it's not. They're good. They're great. But guess what? Pekka Rinne is on a historic run in the playoffs right now, and they're going to have to figure him out. Hopefully they do. They got past Anderson and got 7 on him. Well, 4 on him and then 3 more on the backup Condon, former Penguin. And they did the same thing with Washington. They were able to find ways to score. Sometimes it takes a 1-0 game with Phil Kessel yelling at himself to get a goal.
That was great. I love Kessel. Love that guy.
Sometimes we rack up 7 and we think nothing of it. But no, I agree. It could be a possible 5-game series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go on the opposite end and say no, because NHL prediction, which had been pretty accurate until the refs botched it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, it has gotten the last 8 of the last 9 games right. So I'll take it. That's good. That's pretty good accuracy. But it has Nashville win game 1 tonight, 4-3. Now, the only thing that sticks out about that game that I did run through was the Penguins took 4 penalties and Nashville scored on 2. Keep in mind, Nashville is one of the lower-ranked power plays in the playoffs. So I kind of found that hard to believe, but we'll see what happens tonight. But hopefully the Penguins don't get into penalty trouble. I really don't think they will at home.
Nah.
But it said 4-3 that the Penguins lose game 1. And if that's the case, I'm going to say the series has to go to 6 or 7. I don't think it'll be a 5-game cleanup because then that means that the Penguins would have to win 4 straight.
Here's an interesting stat. It's the season series, how we did against Nashville. Well, we lost to them way back, I believe, in October 5-1, and we beat them in January 4-2. So just something interesting to bring up.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough series. I mean, they play the same style. For once, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're a physical club just like the Penguins are, but we're not playing a team that outweighs us by like 30 pounds. Where, we played Columbus. It was just hit from Columbus. Same thing with the Capitals. Their physicality just wore the Penguins down, and that's what dragged that game to 7 was the Capitals knew if they just hung around and kept beating us up that they could slowly eke out these close game victories like they did in 5 and 6. So Nashville here a little different, not as heavy as a team. They're still physical, don't get me wrong, but they're fast.
Mhm.
This series is going to look a lot like Tampa Bay last year, if you remember.
Which was a great series.
It's going to look a lot like that, and the goaltenders are going to have to be on par.
Well, here's speaking of goaltending. I'm glad you brought that word up. I just looked up to see who was in goal for both of those games, the win and the loss, and just wanted to point this out there. Fleury was in for the 5-1 loss, and Murray was in for the 4-2 loss. So I just thought I'd bring that up as well.
Well, you know what? We talked about this, and I've listened to Sullivan talk about it a lot because they've, when we switched,
and I love both. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that's what the results were.
When we switched goaltenders in the playoffs, I mean, I wasn't upset about it because Murray's back and healthy. Trust Mike, but Murray's back and healthy. Fleury had a bad night.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It was a good time to do it instead of pulling him out when he's hot. You pull him out when he's not. So I'm fine with it. But the one thing that everybody's failing to realize is Sullivan is doing a fantastic job making the two goaltender system work.
Yes.
We've seen teams try it, and it doesn't work. Dallas is a prime example.
It
didn't work, and now you see they're not even in the playoffs this year.
Nope.
But he's done a great job of making it work, putting them in the position where they both know, hey, you're both good. Mm-hmm. I can't put you both out there. But when
that would be great if he could.
Yeah.
But can you imagine?
Yeah. But when you go out there, you better bring your best because otherwise I'm putting him in.
Sure.
And I think it was actually a good thing to have Murray, put it as a silver lining. It was a silver lining for Murray to get hurt at the start of the playoffs because now you have a fresh Fleury going into the playoffs. And he can do some damage and give him a chance. If he can build himself some confidence, he can maybe carry the team. And he does. He carries him halfway. And now
he did.
Murray's back. Murray's healthy. Murray is your mainstay. He is the starter. The starter role goes back to him. Fleury did everything he was supposed to do as a technical backup.
Sure. Quote unquote.
Now Murray, fresh goaltender, has not gone through the grind of 12 playoff hockey games of being abused by shots and getting run into by players. He's fresh. Pekka Rinne has been playing all 12. At some point, the nerves might get to him. Fatigue might start setting in that he's played all these games toward the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a fresh goaltender over, as hot as he is. I'll take a fresh, good goaltender over one that's been playing as much as he has.
And remember, who's won a Stanley Cup? Who's been to this dance?
Right.
Matt Murray.
Right.
He's done it.
Exactly.
So the nerves.
So is Fleury.
Right.
So if they get to Murray, it's like, okay, fine. Well, if you really think a 3-0 lead is going to stop us, we'll just put the other guy in, and he'll do just as good.
See,
and he'll get us right back in it.
But if we can get through Pekka, who's their backup?
Yeah, no idea.
It doesn't matter.
You got to look that one up. I forget what his name is.
That's a trivia question.
They haven't used him. They really haven't used him.
They don't need him. But I'm saying if the Pens
doing so well
can get through. I mean, look, they've ran out 2 goaltenders. They ran out Anderson in one game and Holtby. They've done it. You could do that to this guy. Just imagine.
So I'm very excited for tonight's game.
This is it.
It's good to see. I mean, hell, it's great to see that they have a chance to go back and win it 2 times in a row. I'm going to be nerve as all get out. Probably won't. Probably going to lose a lot of sleep over the next 2 weeks with this series. But
and your voice, as mine.
Yeah, a lot of yelling at the TV, a lot of hiding behind the couch,
throwing stuff.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of tired mornings at work. Stand up because it starts at 8:00.
And if it goes into OT, good luck. I don't care. I'm staying up. I do not care.
I sacrificed for that, dude. I stayed up for that. That was a mistake. But
I knew you were going to. You couldn't. There was no way. You had no choice.
If it would have went
If it would have went
triple overtime, I might have considered at least going and laying down in bed with the radio on.
Just to listen.
Just to listen to it.
But hey, Mike Lang, you made a great call. Man, I love that guy.
Yeah. His was great. Doc Emmerich had a heart attack.
Yes, he did.
Every time. I mean, I loved it, but had a heart attack.
It happens.
But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, really, it could have been a whole different story. And I mean, we talked about it before. Senators deserved it just as much as the Penguins did. They shouldn't have been at the finals of the conference finals. I mean, really.
Yeah.
They got through a beat up Boston team that if was healthy, they probably could have gone the distance, but they don't have the depth that the Penguins do.
Yeah, they're just not that strong.
Right. New York gave him a run, but once again,
I don't think Lundqvist. He's not. I think he's overrated. I really do.
I think he's getting older.
Yeah.
And I think it's just they didn't have the same. You know how teams have a drive.
Yep.
I don't think New York had the drive this year. Ottawa had it. Pittsburgh had it.
Yep.
You could say Washington had it. I mean, I don't know what to make of them anymore. I mean, I really
love
don't.
that. I love saying that.
I really thought that the Penguins were going to fall to the Capitals and that they would go to the Stanley Cup and win this year. And I'm a Penguin fan, but I mean, I really thought
realistically,
they got it.
On paper, yeah, they should have. But you know what? I'm glad they did.
So, but anyway,
great.
You can see Chicago did not have the drive.
We're not going to talk about them. They're on the list.
Let's be honest, though, they really didn't.
What did they have?
Great team. But they were a great regular season team. They just didn't have that playoff drive.
Sounds like the Penguins from many moons ago.
Yeah, when we got swept 4-0 against Boston, we scored 2 goals.
Ooh, yeah, it's been deleted from my memory.
That's why I don't go down to the big screen anymore. 0-5 when I go to the big screen,
really?
By the way.
Pretty good. Yeah. I'm 0-2. So, yeah.
I am 3-0 in playoff games when
really?
I go to the games. Yes.
So you got to go.
No, they're expensive. That's the problem. Can't afford them.
That's true.
So if I stick to my chair outside in the living room. Well, it's the same spot on a couch.
See?
And I don't move.
Can't.
Unless we're losing, then I move.
You change it up. You're right.
See, you got the beard just like I did too. You know, you touch it.
I
touched it. I touched it, and we lost 5-1, 5-2 against Washington. Yeah. So I've been very hands off with it since.
There you go.
But no, really looking forward to it. Matt Cullen really said he was looking forward to it. He said this is probably his last year.
Sure.
He's now what, 41?
Dad's getting old.
Yeah, Dad's getting old. Kessel, once again, I'm sure he wants another one just to rub it into Toronto again.
Sure.
Stanley Cup champion twice. You know Crosby and Malkin won it.
Yes, they do.
Matt Murray
3
is
times.
not going to pass up an opportunity to be a 2-time Stanley Cup champion his first 2 years.
They're hungry. They're very hungry.
Like I said, this time it'll be different because if in the event that they need Fleury's going to have just the same amount of investment because he has carried them halfway.
He's ready.
This year is a lot different than last year because last year it was Murray's cup to win. This year it's the whole team now.
It is.
It's both goaltenders. It's all the forwards. It's all the defensemen except Mata.
Okay.
I don't care if he had 2 goals. He cost us game 1. And he almost twice. So, just saying. Still don't like him.
Okay.
But no, really, this is going to be a historic series. Like I said, the fact that you have 2 very different storylines, first time Stanley Cup entering, a veteran team looking to go back and win 2. This isn't like when you walk into some Stanley Cup matchups like last year and you go, okay, the Penguins are going to win this. You know, this one to me is Nashville could write a very big piece of history, and so can Pittsburgh. You know, it's almost like, I know you don't watch basketball, but it's almost like the Cleveland Golden State final series for basketball this year. It's, can they be a repeat, the Cavaliers, or will Golden State get revenge? Mm-hmm. So, very good Stanley Cup matchup. I think of the 16 teams that made it, this is probably the best matchup we could have asked for. I don't know. Do you think we could have had a better matchup?
Well, you know the matchup I wanted, but I've pretty much given up hope on that ever happening. You know, maybe if I don't pick it next year, it'll happen. There you go.
I would have honestly, what would have been the only other matchup that would have been a little more interesting would have been Penguins-Edmonton.
That's one I want.
David Crosby. That would have been a good matchup.
Yes, I agree.
Otherwise, the only other matchup that would have been interesting would have been like Washington and Chicago. Because it would have been the same story. Chicago would have been Pittsburgh. Washington would have technically been Nashville.
The 2 number 1s.
Right. Plus the two number ones, the two overall best teams. So,
Sure.
But looking forward to it, Dan. We got about 20 some minutes. Well, with NBC, probably another hour before the puck. They say
2 hours.
8 o'clock. They say 8 o'clock.
We'll start
and
by
then it's like the
midnight.
puck drops at 25 after 8, and you're like, my God, this game's gonna be on until 12.
Drag it out. Drag it.
You still got Lord Stanley over there.
And Lord Stanley's in the living room. Thank you very much. He's on display in my window. I'm ready.
That was still our best episode.
Hey, if they win, well, I might be on a cruise. So, but if they win in 4, Lord Stanley will be back.
If they sweep them, come on, give Nashville some credit.
I'm kind of hoping for that, so I could be here to see it. Just saying.
No, I know. I'll be. I don't think I'll be home for 6 or 7 if they go
that far. That's the problem. I just the sooner the better.
I will be at a bar somewhere if they are. But no, looking forward to it. Game 1's going to be exciting. I'm going to hate the next 2 weeks of my life because of this, and I'm going to hate it if we lose. But if we win, it'll
even
be
if we do.
You know?
You made it this far. You know what? Hey, win, lose, draw.
Props. Once again, the injury bug smacks them again, and somehow, like we've said numerous times, players just come out of the woodwork for them. It shows the depth of the minor league program. So, I mean, they are fueled to be a repeat Stanley Cup team. The question is, they're going to be able to do it.
Yes.
And we'll find out. Game 1 starts in about,
26.
half hour our time, NBC an hour. But, So, Dan, I think that's it for this one. We'll probably reconvene maybe for Game 3.
That would be nice. Sure.
We'll see how schedules work out.
I'd like to.
If not, we always do our season wrap-up at the end.
Uh-huh.
Talk about our favorites, talk about our not-so-fun moments, and just basically how the playoffs went. We'll always do our recap like we always do. So, but that's it, Dan, as always. Chat out to your channel, buddy.
All right. It's not the most exciting time of the year to be a wrestling fan, and as you all know, I am not watching Monday Night Raw for the next 2 weeks, so thank you, Penguins, for making the Stanley Cup Finals, but I will still be covering pro wrestling. Be sure to get all my latest thoughts on WWE professional wrestling at youtube.com/DanielGuyza412. It's where you can find me at. Hit me up, hit the like and subscribe button.
Alrighty, Dan. Hopefully the Penguins take Game 1.
Yes.
If not, let's see. We'll probably blame it on officiating.
Sure.
I'm going to be mad that NHL said Nashville won. Probably uninstall the game.
Delete.
All right. And on that note, we're going to give ourselves the end of the podcast here. I won't hit the delete button. I'll hit the end button.
Yes.
I don't want to delete it. All this greatness we've been watching. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time. Enjoy Game 1. And happy Memorial Day.
Yes, happy Memorial Day.